All right, time for another episode of the Joshcast. Joshcast, brought to you by self-doubt. Don't be so sure of anything. Feeling a lot of that today. A lot of self-doubt today. Maybe it's because we're in the middle of the June gloom and the weather is a bit overcast, but I'm trying to enjoy the overcast weather now because come July and August, the weather is going to get a lot hotter. Why am I'm talking about the weather? That's all I have to talk about at this point, the weather. With all these things going on in life, namely death. Unbelievable. Seeing somebody run across the street with a bunch of balloons and a card. Looks like it's someone's birthday, or it's perhaps a graduation gift of some kind. And the person they're going to give that to is going to give them the card and the balloons, and the person is going to say, they're going to say thank you, and they're going to think, it's not what I really want. Unless this card contains peace of mind, unless this card contains unconditional love. A gift card for unconditional love. But how would that be possible? How could you give a gift card for unconditional love, especially if it was only $20? That's what I've got to figure out. Oh man, and I'm feeling fatigue, just tired, a lot of fatigue, because I've been getting a lot of great sleep lately, getting okay sleep. Trying not to use the space heater in my apartment because it blows a bunch of dust in my face, and then I've got stuff in my eyes, and that doesn't work. Suppose I could keep the space heater farther away from my face. That might be a useful notion. But the problem with a space heater is that if I keep it on the other side of the room, then it heats up the 2-foot circumference around the space heater, and the rest of the room is still cold. So the real problem is I'm not a doctor, so I can't afford central heating. Instead, I'm pinning all my hopes and dreams on the success of this podcast. There's the first joke. Finally. It's been now a week since I've been off sugar, and I'm noticing I've lost a little bit of the fat. I can see it. Feeling a bit slimmer, feeling better. Everything's going my way. Life is perfect. My life is 100% perfect. Why? Because my name is Todd. I'm Todd and life is great. I have no complaints whatsoever. Todd Masterson had no complaints. Todd Masterson's life was great until one day when he discovered that his big toe on his left foot was a little itchy, and there was a white film underneath the nail. What is this? Is this, I don't know, is this a fungus? I'm going to Google it. Oh God, maybe it's a fungus. I don't understand this. I shower every day. Is it because of the damp climate? Oh God. And that was the day Todd Masterson became neurotic. Todd Masterson's neurotic. Todd Masterson's neurotic. I don't know what happened, Todd. You used to be a man, and now all you do is wash your hands and knock on wood 3 or 4 times. I just don't understand it. My life was perfect. But then, because of my big toe, it all got thrown off. That's a new HBO series. Rave reviews. It's called Todd Masterson is Neurotic. Really good. John Hamm's going to play Todd Masterson. I don't know if he can. Hopefully he'll be able to replicate the voice. Hopefully he'll have that in his chops. To replicate the voice of Todd Masterson. I feel like any voice I do is pretty much just a voice that the South Park guys would do if they really just didn't care anymore. It's like bad South Park voices is what it is. That's the extent of my voice work, if you will. I don't understand why I haven't gotten more voice work from doing this podcast. I don't understand why I'm not. Why am I not in Toy Story 4? Which I did try to I tried to see if the summary of Toy Story 4 was on Wikipedia yet. It was not. That's what I like to do. Instead of going to the theater, I just read the Wikipedia article and I go, I see what they did there. I see what they did there. Driving by a Toyota hatchback. I believe it's a hatchback. Might be a wagon. I think the hatchback, what's the difference between a hatchback and a wagon? $50,000. Boom shakalaka. That's not true. I think the hatchback is a shorter vehicle, whereas the wagon is like a sedan, but with a hatchback. I don't know. There is something depressing about the hatchback. I hate to say it, and it's no slide. Maybe out there's a multi-billionaire who said, you know what? I just want a hatchback. I just want to know that I just want to be able to know that my groceries have a lot of room. But I just don't envision that Elon Musk is saying, yeah, drive the hatchback, pull the hatchback around. I don't think he's walking around going, yeah, I got a hatchback. Does Tesla even make hatchbacks? I don't think they're allowed to. Sir, we were wondering, would you like one of the Tesla models to be a hatchback? I'm sorry. Did you just use the H word in the presence of my office? Get out of here. And take your hatchback with you. Driving by a guy holding up a sign holder guy. Seeing one of those. Sign holder guy. Ballad to the sign holder guy, holding up the sign. Having to stand outside and being judged by the people driving by. I saw the look you gave me. I'm sorry, who are you? I was the guy holding the sign. And you drove past, and you gave me a look of judgment. Sorry, what? Were you? You were just on Magnolia 15 minutes ago, right? And you drove by, and we locked eyes, and you judged me. Well, it turns out I'm following you, and I'm confronting you about it. I mean, who do you think you are? You're just driving a hatchback. You don't know what's going on. You don't know me. You don't know what's going on in my life. I have integrity. Okay? All right, maybe I can't afford a Tesla, but you know what I can afford? Self-respect. Because I'm making it work. So don't judge me. How were you able to get here so fast? I have a car, okay? Yes, it's also a hatchback, but still. Don't judge me. On the next episode of The Sign Guy. Airs Friday nights on HBO, right after Todd Masterson is Neurotic. Jim, I need to talk about the HBO programming that we have this year. Well, the two flagship shows that apparently each have a budget of $2 million. The first one is Todd Masterson is Neurotic, and the second one is The Sign Guy. Yeah, what's your point? Well, I I'm having trouble finding the hook of these shows. I'm not sure how these are going to generate an audience. Well, have you ever had foot problems? Well, yes. Well, I mean, I can't think of somebody who hasn't had a foot problem. So that's our angle for Todd Masterson. And then the sign guy, I mean, we've all seen it, right? We've all seen the sign guy. We've all wanted to know what's going on from his perspective. I get that. It's just that we're coming off of Game of Thrones, which is an epic fantasy adventure show. And, none of these shows seem like the sign guy is just a guy who holds a sign who gets angry at people. That's the first 5 episodes when I'm reading through the scripts. That's what we're getting. I don't know. We just have some concerns. Listen, I know what I'm doing. I'm Jim. All right? I'm Jim, the head of HBO. I know what I'm doing. These shows are going to be hits. No one is expecting a show about a sign guy and a show about a neurotic guy named Todd Masterson who has a weird kind of voice that hopefully John Hamm will be able to do. But I think he will. Nobody is going to expect those things to work. Why? Because they don't expect it to. I know what you want me to do. Some other fantasy epic, some other Game of Thrones clone. That is not happening. Trust me, all right? Don't let the fact that I drive a hatchback make you think I don't know what I'm doing. I drive down Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank to get to work every day. And never, ever in the history of my life have I seen so much time and attention given to the trees that grow down this street. My God, it's a neurotic obsession. So much work goes into these trees. And I'm driving by each one. They're trying to trim these trees so they're perfect spheres. I feel like I'm driving down in Disneyland, for goodness sakes. Every day with the tree maintenance. It's irritating. Just let them be. Fine. Let them grow into the buildings. I'm tired of driving by these perfect trees. Trees are not perfect. They are unique. They are individual. This tree right here, working on a novel. This tree over here, more of a math tree. Let the trees be themselves. Well, this has been a weird one. This, of all the podcasts so far, this one has been quite bizarre, if I do say so myself. If I do say so myself. That's an odd phrase. If I do say so myself. If I do say so myself. If you don't mind me weighing in on this, normally I would not weigh in my opinion. It is uncouth for me to volunteer my own opinion. So I will passive-aggressively ask permission to weigh in my opinion if I do say so myself. Essentially, I will give the opinion and then ask permission to give the opinion. And by asking permission to give the opinion after the fact, it enables me to just give the opinion, but by then asking permission, I am acknowledging that I gave my opinion without asking permission. And thus, I come off like a gentleman, if I do say so myself. As opposed to, I'm going to say so myself right now. Why? Because I drive a hatchback. And that's the podcast. Dun-dun-dun, podcast. Dun 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 podcast, podcast, podcast. Dun 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 podcast, podcast, podcast. Yeah.